All right, so we are starting webinar automatic dimensions for precast concrete in Revit. So how to automate that? My name is Valensas Balsevičius. I'm a structural engineer and I work here in AGACAD company, mostly with precast concrete. So our mission is to create solutions which would accelerate all the implementation of BIM in the world, right? So to reduce all the unnecessary stress and tasks or engineers. So we create a lot of different kind of add-ons for Revit. And today we'll talk about this precast concrete add-on. Mostly we will talk about one of the feature about the shop drawings. All right. And it helps to create elements, to insert details or connections or hardware, however you call it, then sort them, renumber them, and then create shop drawings. Also create reinforcement for walls. Scope of webinar is to run through the automated dimension rules, create shop drawing configuration, and then we'll run through other features of precast concrete. So we'll see what else can we do with full package, not only with automated shop drawings. All right, so this is it. This is short introduction. We can switch to Revit, to my sample project, which I tried to create here today. And I'm gonna use it here. So what do you see here on the right side is tools for BIM Dunk. This one, right? You can download it from our webpage, and then from it you can install any of our solutions, like automatic cutoff openings for MEP or framing or whatever you want, or precast concrete, right? And then have a 2 weeks trial. So precast concrete, it has a bunch of tools inside: smart walls to split walls, SortMark to renumber, wall reinforcement to make reinforcement for walls, then floor panel to create layout of hollow core slabs and double T slabs, and then smart connections to place all the hardware automatically, and smart assemblies, the one we will talk today, to create shop drawings or shop tickets, however we call it. All right, so let's take a look. First of all, to start using it, I'm gonna build up a new wall. So I'm just gonna draw a simple wall over here, something like that. Then I'm just gonna add wall over here, and yeah, actually this door is a little bit offsetted down, so I'm just gonna fix it. All right, and before I want to, I will create shop drawings now, but first of all, I'm just gonna add mark value here, because assembly name will be based on this information. So okay, and what I will do, I'll go to Smart Assemblies. You see here's a lot of commands, but I'm just gonna go ahead and click on create assemblies, and here I have configurations. What do I want to create? So I'm gonna pick one of it. If I'm gonna edit it, you will see what's inside of this configuration. So I have views defined. So basically this is default configuration, which comes with the software. Okay, so example shop drawing, and then it has example dimension rules. So here I selected a couple of views, section, front view, then it could be rotated. In this case, it's not rotated. It has names, right? And then you can assign view templates. So basically visibility settings, and then what kind of dimension rules should be used, gravity points, and some other options. Then also you have schedules and sheets, what should be created, right? But by default, you have this configuration, and we'll try to use it just at once, just right on this wall. Totally default configuration. Okay, so what happened now is that it created assembly. The name of assembly, you see, it's the same as mark. Then it has information about assembly mass, because I have assigned materials. I have information when it was created, what kind of configuration was used here. So I'll go here and then I will go to the front view. And then, all right, so what I will do now, what I see here in the front view, I have total measure, right? And then I have opening dimensions over here of this door, right? So it's cool, it's okay, but this is like very simple, right? So let's try to add something else. So I'm gonna place detail, this one, and I'm just gonna drop it by using Revit somewhere on the face, right? So let's try to update now, just shop drawings. If I'm gonna click on update, what will happen now? It just added these details to assembly. So let's take a look now. So details are added, these elements are added, but they are not dimensioned, right? So it means my configuration, it's not okay. That's not the configuration what I would like to use, right? So for that, what I will do, I'll go to shop drawing configuration here, and I'm gonna start creating my own configuration, right? So I have this example one, I'm just gonna duplicate, and then I will say, this is this configuration. This will be my name of configuration. And then I'm gonna say that I wanna, all right, so I'm just gonna say I wanna have this front view, top view, left view, okay? And then, okay, view templates could be okay. And then dimension rules. This is the thing I want to change because I want to dimension that element as well. So I'm gonna go to the dimension rules, and again, I will build up my own dimension rule configuration. So I'll call it like that. And here what I have, in the main element geometry, I have settings how to dimension cuts and openings in my wall, what dimension style should be used. So I'm gonna use metric units here, but you can use imperial, doesn't matter. I mean, that's Revit stuff, right? Then some settings for the cuts and openings. I can define what should be the smallest size and so on. But but it was okay with opening, right? I have door, so it was dimensioned pretty good. Now I want to dimension metal details actually, but if I go to this tab, I have here settings, but I'm gonna ignore them and I will use this option, Smart Dimensions configuration, because it's much more flexible. I'm gonna go here and find the default one because I already created quite a lot of here configurations. But the default one, I will pick this one and I will edit this one. And this is the Smart Dimensions configuration, right? So that's how does it look. It has many categories. It can dimension different kind of elements, okay? So, but in my case, I have just wall and face-based details. So I need to find these two in this list. So the wall, I found it here. So I'm just gonna drag it to the top so it will be easier for me to work with it. Oh, actually, I'm just gonna create new configuration, okay? And I will call it as well the same way, like that. So this will be Smart Dimensions configuration, and then I will push it into the shop drawing configuration. Right. So one more time, wall. I'm just gonna drag it to the top. Wall, and what I will do for the wall, that I'm just gonna select this one, include in total measure, because it means that it will actually dimension all the elements from this element. And yeah, so it's important to select host element to be included in total measure. This tool could be used with framing and columns and so on, right? So in this case, I work with wall, so I select this one to be included. Then I have this detail face-based, right? So I'm gonna drag it as well, select this one, And what I will select here, so you see for this detail, I have grouping, filtering options, some other options over here, priority, how dimensions should be created, and then text note. What kind of text note should be created together with dimension lines? So I'm just gonna add these two. Text note type will be okay, so this one. And then this detail on the front view will be like, yeah, on the front. Then we have other options on the vertical side. So if that would be somewhere here on the vertical side, we wouldn't have to go to this tab, or horizontal to this tab. But in this case, I'm gonna go to front face, and then I will select that I want to create a horizontal dimension and I want to create vertical dimension, right? So we have this column for horizontal dimensions and this column for vertical dimensions. But where to snap with my dimensions? So I want to snap to location point. I want to join dimension lines, and I want to place dimension. So what I will do, I will place by, so I have a couple of options here at the bottom, at the top, or by elements, so to a nearest site, right? So I'm gonna select this one. But for vertical measure, I will say that I want to place it on the right side. And this is settings for the node. And for the node, I want to actually see type mark of type parameter and type mark. Okay, so I'm just gonna select this from the list. All right, so okay, we have a couple, so these settings are ready. It's just that this one, actually I will remove this one, dimensions of total measure, because I'm gonna use it from Smart Assembly. So usually it's not necessary, just in some situations. So I think that's okay. Oh, sorry. I want to dimension actually at the location point, and I want to join dimension lines. I don't want to see them separate. So I think now that should be all right. So I'm going to select OK. Then this configuration is selected. And if I use Smart Dimensions, I really don't want to care about this tab. I can forget about it. Reinforcement, in this case, I don't have it. Then in this tab, I will define what do I want to dimension. So it's really important to leave this on, because I have Smart Dimensions in this tab. But this one, really, I don't need it. Reinforcement, I don't have it. Sweep, I don't have it. I don't have any kind of grids inside. And then, well, gravity point, I will not create it. So, but we can leave it. And then we have textile, which would be used for all the cuts and total measure and gravity point. But for all the details defined in Smart Dimensions, they will have their own style of textile, right? We define that in there. And then how to place dimension lines. So it could be like connected like that, and then depends where do you want to place the nodes, or it could be like on each side like this, right? So it's up to you again how it should be. So I'll leave it like that, click on save and close. And then what I will say that I want to, for the front view, I want to use this new configuration. Okay. And I'm gonna save it. I will not modify schedules yet and sheets. So let's do it. And then we will change configuration now. So let's change configuration. And we'll say that we want to use that configuration now, and we'll click on create. So we'll change configuration and we'll start using our configuration. Click on OK, and then, all right, so it was created again. And yeah, so what do we have now is we have this opening dimensions, right? Then we have this vertical dimension line, and then horizontal guys. I have two of them because I didn't select to join them. And then we have the total measure as previously, right? So again, it's quite okay, but what if we will start creating more of them? I mean, if we'll start getting more of details, right? So I'm just gonna use Smart Connection. So Smart Connection is like a tool to to place different kind of elements based on configuration again. So I'm going to show you the configuration. How does it look? We have line-based elements, how to place them, right? For example, here I have this line-based element should be placed on the right side of the wall. It should go from the start to the end with some offset, and it should be offsetted from the top of the wall a little bit. And then I have some details on the bottom of the wall, right? This one will be placed, so I can define which family should be placed where. So what I will do, I will just insert them, right? So I inserted a couple of details here, a couple of details here. This one, maybe it's not in a perfect location, so I'm just gonna modify this one because this is Revit family, right? So I can modify, I can add it, I can move it however I want. But what next do I want to do? I want to go back to Smart Assemblies again and click on Update Assemblies. So it will add all of these details now back to shop drawing configuration and to the dimensioning. And what I have here now is that I have opening dimensions, so that's okay. Then this one gives me, I have hole dimensioning, which is not what I want actually. I want to dimension to the center of this element and that's it. So I don't want to dimension these guys. And then this one now gives me dimension actually of all the elements what I have here. So it's snapping here to these guys over here, and it's also snapping over here, and it's snapping to this one. So it's not okay because I have just one dimension line, and when I get random node, it's not what I want to have, right? So what I will do, I can go back to shop drawing configuration, right? I can go here, then I can go to dimension rules, then I can go to this one, and then modify here, but it's kind of long way, right? So what I would recommend to do, if you'll try to use this tool, luckily we can use the Smart Dimension tool in any view. So it's like a separate tool. If you remember, we created this configuration over here, right? So I have it here, so I can use this tool as a separate dimensioning in any view. So basically, if I would just duplicate this view, I would have this view now and try to dimension elements only by using Smart Dimensions, not by using Smart Assemblies shop drawing configuration, but just Smart Dimensions configurations, right? So I get similar results than previously. It's just it's not placing text nodes, but at least I can work it out until I'm happy with the dimensions, and then I will push it back to shop drawing configuration. Okay, so what I will do, I'll click on modify. So first of all, I'm missing text nodes, and when I'm using only Smart Dimensions without shop drawing configuration, so text nodes, I need to select this one additionally, that they should be created. Okay, so that's what I will do here, and let's try to update, save and update. So I have these nodes. At least it indicates what do I have. It's not so nice as previously, but we'll fix that a little bit later. Yeah, so but still we have this wrong information. So what I will do, I will say that I want to actually group elements by type. Okay, so let's try to do that. I'm gonna save it again and group it. And you see that now I have this dimension line, which gives me dimensions for this one, and I have already good note about it. Then a different size of these elements, these small pieces over here. So they have give me these two over here, and then I have this one, and it seems pretty good, except that I don't have any dimensions for this one. And the reason for that is because, let me try that modify option one more time. I'll go here, and then The reason is that I'm defining dimensions for front face details. So these are on the front face, these are on the front face, but this one, the location point is on the horizontal edge of my wall, and this one is also the location, the insert point is on the horizontal face of my wall. So I need to go to this tab, and when I say I want to create horizontal dimension and snap to location point, but I can snap to solid edges or to model lines or to reference planes inside of a family, or yeah, so quite a lot of options here. But then I want to place dimensions by element, so to a nearest side, and again the same type mark information. I want to place it, so I'm gonna save it and click on OK. One more time, let's see. Yeah, so additionally I get this line at the bottom at the element side, right? I have this information, and here on the top I get this one for these elements, so that's okay. But actually what I want to do here, I have here line-based element, and I want to dimension line-based element. I don't want to dimension each of these details, okay? So what I will do, one more thing, I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna modify this one. I'll go here, and then I will, okay, I'm gonna use filter here, and I will use actually, yeah, we can use type mark, and we will say that it does not begin with there, for example, right? Like I see it here for these details. So if I'm gonna use this filtering, it will measure all the other details which does not begin with this one. So I hope I got rid of these guys, right? So they are not dimensioned anymore. Okay, but now we want to dimension this line-based element one more time. Let's go here, line-based elements. I'm just gonna drag it to the top, drop it somewhere closer to me. This element, it's horizontal in the view, so I'm gonna go to this tab, say I want to measure horizontal dimension, I want to join it, I want to have left and right edges of this element, I want to place, again, by element to the nearest side, and then have the same information from the type mark. Text note settings, again, I need to update it with some that it would give me these settings if I use only smart dimensions. And vertical dimension, yeah, as well. I want to have it top and bottom, then place it on the right side. And type mark. Okay, so I want to say place this on the right side, save it, and okay. So you see that now I have this dimension, which is snapping to the left and right edges of this element. Then I have this vertical dimension as well. All right, so seems pretty good. We can add something else. I mean, a number of elements and number of details you have here is it's up to you, and how many filters do you want to use, right? For example, what I will do, I'm just gonna change these, let's say, to other family, and then I can also use smart connections one more time to insert something else. For example, insert elements, and I will say that I want to place this another configuration, just some lifters. So this is like these guys are placed by gravity point. So I can define that they should be placed by gravity point, 2 of elements, and some more than half of the wall length should be the distance between them. So one here and one here. And well, I'm gonna run the update by drawing configuration one more time. Oh, so basically, so now I'm running update by drawing configuration. So actually, it's gonna update my assembly now with the latest version of Smart Dimensions with all my changes, right? So if I'm gonna go to the front view, it's already applied all the the settings which I have in my Smart Dimensions configuration. So we see that I have this one, this dimension line, which gives me dimension line of these, then another one which gives me a dimension line of these, then opening dimension, then I have all the other dimensions. And the only thing that I'm not happy here is actually still two things. The total measure, it's giving me this value, which I don't want to have. And then hole, I don't want to measure holes, right? I want to use this dimension line just to snap to the center of this detail, and that's it. So at least my way of dimensioning that would be like this. So what I will do, I'll go to shop drawing configurations and to dimension rules. And then over here, I'm gonna say that this should not include type information, and this should be some kind of other information for the total measure. And I don't want to dimension holes at all, so I'm gonna switch this off, save it, save and close, and now one more time, update by drawing configuration. So just gonna run through all the details, right? It calculates assembly mass again, and note that details are automatically added. You don't need to do that manually. But now I don't have that whole dimension, and I have this total measure with this kind of note. And I have these to the nearest side. These are to the nearest side of this detail. And vertical dimensions are on the right side, except the total measure, which I still left as it was in default configuration. So that's pretty good, and I can get rid of this one. Still, the left view is still, I left the default configuration, so it doesn't look nice, and the total measure probably should not be like that, but I'm gonna get there by creating new shop drawing, dimension rules. So what I will do quickly, just go here, and then I will duplicate this, and then I will say only totals. And what I will do, I'm just gonna go to the bottom, and I will say that I want to have only total measure, right? So, so this will give me only total measure for the selected view with this configuration. So I will say that for top view, I want to use this one, and for left view, again, I want to have only totals. Then, okay, this is it. But we will not run update now. We'll create something else. So I have here part list. What I will do, I'm just gonna go here, and then I will say that I want to, okay, I have category. Actually, we can add anything, right? Just by using some standard way of creating your, okay, we have description. Maybe we can add type mark because we chose this one to be as information. And then I'm going to say that I want to filter by category, which is equals to structural connections, because I think that all of my elements are under structural connection category. It's strange that Revit gives this kind of, like over here, it's always complicated why structural connections are here, but okay, whatever. And then we'll sort it, we'll sort them by type mark. We'll calculate totals. What else? We will say that we want to have calculate totals by assembly instance. So this is gonna be all right, but we don't want to see actually a category here. So I'm just gonna hide it, and I don't know, we can leave anything else as it is, for example, right? Okay, so this is description tab is quite empty in my case. Maybe we can find something better. The comments, did I use this one maybe? Okay, it's quite empty as well. So we'll leave it anyway as is. But what I want to show that I have this one, right? So what I will do, I'll create view template for it, and I will say that this is schedule of details, or all right. So I'm just gonna make it like that, so I'll know that. But what I will do, I will go to shop drawing configuration, and then I'm gonna tell to software that I want to have it, right? So I'm just gonna remove that one, but here I will select that part list will be created, and then I will use schedule view template, and I will use that one, the one I have created, right? So I can create as many schedules here as I want, and I will show you a little bit later examples about it. All right, and then still our sheet template is empty, but I'm gonna show you how to change that. All right, so this is okay. I'm gonna now run the update of by DC. So it will update this left and top view, right? And then it should remove this material takeoff, I guess, yeah. And then I will go to the sheet, and what I will do, I'm gonna drag the views over here. Oh my God, I have chosen wrong. I mean, not the same visibility settings. It doesn't look nice, right? I'm gonna find that same one, structural sections. It should be better now. When you see only one view, it doesn't look so bad, but when you put it on the sheet, so it seems like it's really wrong. So let's do that one more time. Let's update this by drawing configuration. So now it should be better. So I have the front view over here, left view. How does it look now? Looks about the same size. Do that one more time. Come on. Let's remove this title block. At least I don't use it. And then I have as well part list. So I'm gonna drop it here or here, whatever, wherever you want. You can align it exactly in the, at least what I see in United States, you put it here somewhere when you have this different kind of title block. But so that's one of the ways. And then what I will do actually additionally, I'm gonna say that I wanna have here notes about something, okay, whatever you want. So I use legend. So because legends could be placed on many sheets, right? So, but so what I'll do next, that I will say that I want to actually have this legend in my configuration. So I'm gonna select legend. I'm gonna select that legend, the one I have dragged on the sheet. And then I will say that for the sheet, I'm gonna use this as a sheet template. So I'm gonna save it, save and close. And the next thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna select the same wall, for example, like that. Then I'm gonna insert some connections, insert elements, and then gonna drop the same elements. So I'm just drop now 2 of these, right? Let's add a little bit more. Webinar wall, I guess this one is okay, right? So yeah, and of course you can make it different anytime, but maybe it's not so important. For example, I'm just gonna change a little bit here, so it will be from start. Yeah, I'll add mark again, value over here, click on OK, and then configuration, create, Smart Assemblies, create assemblies, and the same configuration, just run it. And what will be result is that it's gonna add all of the connections again to the assembly. It will calculate assembly mass. Seems to be fine. I have assembly mass again. All of the details has separate element mass calculated, but it's not the most important part, right? Let's move to the shop ticket, and you'll see that sheet is already created, and that I have all the elements in the sheet already, right? So I have this schedule with all the details again. I have this legend, I have views, and I have dimensions, of course, of all of these elements, right? It's a little bit less, so it's not so complicated, but the idea is like that, right? And now what I will do, I will show you a little bit more examples of that, okay? So what you can do is actually you can add, you have here Smart Assembly configuration. When you start using Smart Assemblies, it will add this parameter to your project. So you can type in the name of configuration which you want to use here, and then you can use this auto create command. When I click on auto create, so it will take a look to the wall. It will read the name of configuration which should be used, right? And then it will run that configuration on that wall type actually, because that one is wall type parameter. So I'm just gonna update them, and then, okay, so 3 assemblies actually was created, right? I selected 3 walls, and the tool has created 3 assemblies, right? So Revit works in a different way. It would create 1 assembly, and Smart Assemblies is separating them and making assembly for each of them and adding all the hosted details automatically. So what I have here now, assembly created, now I have this gravity point inserted, and let's take a look. The result is, I'm just gonna minimize these one, and I have this one. So they are almost the same, but I want to show you just that I have applied different configuration settings. Okay, so some filters in 3D view, not so important, but over here, in this dimension rule, I said that I want to have these guys on top and the bottom of the wall. Then I said that total measure should be green, and this detail should be measured with blue. And so basically with different dimension line, right? So it could be anything you create. So again, you are in control. What is it? You are using Revit objects, Revit elements, with all these tools. So it's really easy to move on with it. Then I will switch on to another one just to show another option. So over here, I have created a slightly different configuration. So I said that horizontal measures should have linear dimension style, and then should have note about the element. And vertical dimension lines should be joined. It should not be separate for all elements. It should be joined, and it should be ordinate style. And then another thing here is that I have, okay, this one is the same, but so this one is actually also possible to do like this for some elements, right? In some situations, you can say that I will place dimensions by measure. So that's what happened here, is just placing by measure. So it's just placing inside the boundaries, not outside the boundary of the main element, right? So that's one of the options. Then over here, let's move to this one. And this is pretty standard in Europe. It's like dimension line, the horizontal dimension line is connected to the vertical dimension line, right? So yeah, actually we have used this one previously, right? On our walls. But in this color example, you can see that nodes are placed on each side and the dimension lines are not connected. So this is again another option in shop drawing configuration. So I'm not showing all of them, but that's just, I hope you get the idea. So what else? We have other tools. What we have in Precast Concrete is smart walls, which we can use to split walls. For example, I don't know if I'll do that now, and I have different kind of options how to split them. I just split this in half. I can split that by opening by grid lines. If I have grid lines, I draw grid lines. I split walls wherever I want. I get the precast wall panels in a good size, right? And then I can insert connections to them. So for example, I'm gonna select walls, and I will go to Smart Connections. And here I will do the same thing as I did with Smart Assemblies. I will use auto insert because I have added name of configuration to the wall type, so it knows what to do now. When I click on auto insert, so it's running on all of these walls and placing their connections, which is in the configuration settings. So 9 of them. All right, so here I have, like, I don't know, inserted connections, 226 connection elements, right? And actually it's pretty good because these guys are at the bottom, these are at the top, right? You see I have openings, so these are not placed. Then I have intersection with another wall, so I have additional detail over here, because in Smart Connections we can say that we can find intersections. We can find over here different kind of intersections, and in this case I'm searching for intersection with another wall, and I'm placing this element, right, automatically, and I can define as many tabs here. Okay, so 10 tabs for one element is really enough. We can place different kind of rules, different kind of elements. You see these cuts, these elements are placed. If I, for example, would run into situation, then something is changing, right? And then I would run update, because all of the tools we have update, modify, insert options. And when I run the update of this wall, what will happen is that I will get this additional element, right? It finds intersection. It finds that it's corner connection, so I need one kind of detail. But if it's end of connection, so I'm placing another detail. Okay, gap should be bigger here, but the idea, I hope you get the idea of the tool. So at least one of the options here. So of course you can use it in many other elements, like spandrel wall, for example. Here I have lifting points, I have reveals, I have fillets to cut my wall, I have supporting corbel over here. I have column with these bolts, which is placed at the location of these plates. And then when I inserted these plates, I don't have these bolts in the column yet. So what I will do, I will say update elements for the column, and what's gonna happen is that it will find the location of it, right? So it can do that. So that's one of the ways, right? You can use that with different categories. So walls, beams, columns, floors, and so on. For example, not sure. Okay, I'm just gonna do it like this. First of all, just columns, and then I'm try to insert here. All right, so I have corbels, and you will see that this one is a little bit lower, this is higher, right? The size of the bolt could be increased based on the size of the beam, because we can read information from other elements and modify our families automatically. So again, quite a lot of good things. What I will do actually now, all right, so I'm gonna insert other elements. Beam, this configuration, okay, let's leave it like that. Oh, actually, this one, this configuration didn't work out for this beam, but I remember why, because I have to use some side offset, so I need to move it because the family is created in such a way. Okay, so this one should be modified as well, but I wanted to show you this beam just then, and the reason why I wanted to show you is because well, we have this not released tool yet, and then I was hoping that I will be able to show it for you. I'm just gonna, I have here configuration to place reinforcement for the beams, right? I have different kind of settings here, and then what I want to show you, let's try to do that. I'm just gonna pick these and then click on create reinforcement. Oh, it worked out, so it's good. So what I have here, maybe I can just isolate a couple of elements here. I'm just gonna show, let's say, so I have reinforcement created, right? This one's this stirrup. I have some layout in that direction. Yeah, so this is just one layout, right? Then if we'll take a look to this beam, so we'll see that we have dense area over here. We have not so dense over here. And then we have these extended to the top, right? And then we have these reinforcement bars for inverted T element. And then I have here two elements and then some kind of rule over here. And then at the end, the same stuff. And then maybe what I'll do, I'll just select this one, type some kind of mark, and then I will use Smart Assemblies again. I'm going to create assembly and I will choose the configuration from my list. Okay, that's which one? This one, I guess. Let's try to create it. And then so I have this configuration. I hope at least we'll get some kind of another example of shop tickets. So it's creating views, it's taking all the reinforcement and all the details automatically into assembly and calculating mass of each of the solid element with material assigned. And then, all right, so it looks like that. And let's take a look actually if the drawing was created. And you will see that actually the sheet is also created. Okay, I'm just gonna move this one. So the sheet is created. And yeah, I have dimensions. It's pretty simple actually here. We have created even more complex today. Some reinforcement, right? Some schedule, some other schedules, right? How do you say that? And then why do I have this already on the sheet is because I can have template project and I can define, I already have similar beam in that project and it knows what to do, where to place my views on the sheet, right? So based on that template project. So that's why I got this result. And another thing that I would like to show you is that what if I have one wall, another wall, another wall, another wall, detail, detail. So I call them detail, but basically this is like face-based family, right? This is face-based family. Most of them are what I use line-based or point-based families. Over here are some kind of cuts. This is floor actually. So what would happen if I would select these and create assembly? It would create two assemblies for me. So that's not okay because this is produced as one piece, for example. So I'm going to select this and use Revit. And I will say that this should be this name and then naming category. Okay. So now I have it here, right, in the project browser. But what I will do, I will create assembly now when it's already created, but I will apply this configuration and I will create it. And I didn't try that so much on this kind of complex element, but actually results are quite good even for this kind of wall. So it's gonna create a bunch of different views. All right, and gravity point calculated, right? Everything, and then, oh, so it's in the beginning. And actually, I already also made setup for the sheet. We can go straight to the sheet. And actually, let's take a look actually to one view, to the elevation or to the front view, for example, right? So what I have here, so I said, well, again, to use the by measure, all right? So this one was placed in the middle. Then I have total measure, which is over here. So it's giving me a total measure, sorry, of all element. This one is also total measure is somehow moved to that direction when I have such a complex element. But anyway, I have all the dimensions of these guys. I have dimension of these guys. I don't know, gravity point is inserted based on all of the elements, right? I have this cutout measured as well on this side. I have dimension of the walls, which is smaller over here. I have dimension for the floor because I made this kind of configuration, right? To measure floor, to measure walls, to measure details. And it was not so complex, actually. This one was pretty easy. So that's another example how to work with multiple elements, right? What else do I want to show you from precast concrete is that okay, I'm just gonna quickly do that. I have this one, smart connections, insert elements. So this is sandwich wall. It has 3 layers, but what I want to do here, I want to have a little bit of shape in it. I wanna cut it. I want to have these fillets to have edges of the concrete. Then I want to have these reveals. This cut, right? And then I don't know. You can change anything here as usual, but and then create sharp drawings of it. But maybe another thing what I want to show you actually is wall reinforcement. Another great tool. What it has configuration where you can define how to place external, internal reinforcement for each wall layer. All right, and then how to go around opening, straight bars, diagonal bars, U-shaped bars, how to go around perimeter of the wall, right? And then what I will do now, I'm just gonna select this one and create, well, I can show you like how do I create reinforcement is that I say that for this layer, I want to use this reinforcement configuration. And for this layer, I want to use this reinforcement configuration. So I want to get different results in one side of the wall and different results in another side of the wall. And I'm going to insert now, create rebars. Right, so it could be double wall. You can have air inside, right? So it doesn't matter. It could have 5 layers of the wall. You can use that as well anyway, right? So what I have here now is that, okay, I'm just far away now from here. So you see I have 2 layers of reinforcement here and 1 layer of reinforcement here, but okay, actually we'll go to the level 1, maybe it's somewhere. And we'll go to the section. And yeah, so it looks like that. So I have this multi-layered wall, right? I have this window with some concrete inside already. Then I have these 1 layer over here and 1 layer over here. You see that Revit gives me all of these covers, but we control these covers through the configurations, and then we can strain them to the faces, and then it sticks really good. It's not losing the position of it, right? So that's one of the ways. I'm not gonna create the shop ticket now, maybe because I'm just wanna finish with some other tools. This is floor panel layout to create layout of floors. I'm just gonna quickly show you that I can create a layout of, I can plan my layout, and then I can create actual slabs for this layout. So I can, I have the size of the floor, the opening size, the offset, some other parameters as well. But the main idea is that you make layout, you prepare your layout of the slab. So it could be 4 feet division, and then placing these slabs in this case, for example. And what is it actually here is that I'm creating some new floor elements, Revit floor elements, as you see. They are created new based on the reference floor. And it's also placing this cutout family. So, and this cutout could be very different, right? I can show you, for example, over here. So I have different layout over here. So I'll go to panel settings and I will say that I want to use different kind of floor and different kind of cutout. This one. And I'm gonna change this as well. And what would happen now is that when I do that, I have here, actually now I'm gonna hide this reference floor so we could see better. Right, so now I have double T slabs, and I don't know, I can do that without holes, right? I can just say that I want to use solid slabs, right? Or it could be channel slabs, whatever you have actually. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that. And now what I want to show, maybe a couple of last things, is that I'm gonna select these floors, go to Smart Connections, go to Create, and I'm gonna select to Auto Insert. And basically the reason I use Auto Insert because these are different slabs, different types of slabs, so I need different connections here. So I entered the names of configurations which I want to use. So what happened now is that I got this kind of cuts for these slabs, just for anchoring, for example, right? Then I have these by gravity point for 8 of them for each of them. So for each of the solid slab, and then for the double T slab, I got this at the top, I have this at the bottom, I have this kind of cutout, for example, in this case. Then I have this kind of cutout as well, and then these guys. Okay, it's too dense probably, but well, that's one of the ways, right? You can change that, of course. And what I want to do now is mark values are empty for these. So what I will do, I'm going to use SortMark tool, which is to automatically renumber elements. Oops, so I clicked on sheet number, I guess. No, I don't want to do that. I want to use element numbering, so selected elements, and I want to write information into Mark, and I want to use some configuration. I have filtering, grouping, numbering options, how to do that and that, but I'm just gonna quickly do that without going into details too much. But what I want to say that that now they are automatically renumbered, right? If I'm gonna tag these floors, yep, okay. Guess so. Should be visible now that this one is DT1, DT2, DT3, and so on, because that was my settings to get this kind of dimensions. And then, yeah, I guess I would like to show you that actually shop drawing of this one. It's a little bit different than previous one, so that's why I want to show you as well. Can I do that? Yeah, I guess I also entered the name of configuration which should be used. So let's try it out, and then we could finish today because we are running out of time. If you have questions, you can type them now because we are almost at the end. So I'm just creating this one. Assembly created, right? I'm just gonna go down, find it here, and go to the sheet. And okay, I'm just gonna hide this. So what I have here is that I have top view with dimensions. So I didn't group them on purpose. I made this as a separate dimension for each of them. Then I have dimension for the bottom top details as well, and for cutout. And also I have this one, and this one. These are legends, okay? Because I want to place them on each sheet. And then I have this schedule. Okay, and then the second sheet, I have just a couple of standard details, right? So again, these are legends. So I just draw 2D elements here, 2D families used over here. And I made these standard details because I don't want to actually go into each assembly and make these sections here, here, and here, because it would take anyway a lot of time. It's quite impossible to automate. Almost impossible, okay, but yeah, that's why I use legends for standard stuff, which should be placed on each sheet of a production element. And I don't know, if you still have patience, I can run assembly on this one as well. I'm just gonna click on auto create assemblies, and maybe I can just tell you a few things that you can download these tools for BIMDoc, right? And you can choose the version which you want to work with, and have a 2 weeks trial, right? And you can get your answers through this email. But let's move back to this last assembly, maybe, just because it has some filtering options. And I think I forgot one thing, and it's not gonna work. Let's see. And the reason, well, the trick here is that I have used, oh no, it's still okay, because now you see this one, reinforcement, it has partition outer, and I have used this name of partition in filtering because I want to see, what is the name of it? SW1. All right, so let's go here. The first sheet is just schedules, how do I say that? And then in SortMark, I see other views. I see the position of sections are automatically moved based on my template sheet. And I also see internal reinforcement only, because I have created reinforcement with wall reinforcement tool, which has assigned partitions, and I can use that as a filter, and I can see that, right? Only internal, and this one is only external. I didn't get dimensions here, but not sure why, but here these are internal reinforcement, and I can see them and I can work with it, because let's say tagging or something for reinforcement, it's quite unique stuff, and we I guess all the companies, they work a lot on tag them in a different way. So, but that's what I wanted to show you today. I hope I didn't forget anything. I hope it was useful. And yeah, thank you for joining me. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
AGACAD, building BIM together.